Everybody, Joseph Christ here from 4Player Network here once again at PAX East 2013. I'm here with Colin, Communications Manager for Zombie Studios. How you doing, man?
I'm doing pretty good.
Good.
So my voice, but
yeah, it'll come back slowly.
Come back.
Give it a week. We'll all be sounding like we smoke 1,000 cigarettes a day.
That's
kind of how it goes. So we just played. I played a whole bunch of Daylight. So you described it as sort of urban exploration gone wrong, right?
Yeah. So pretty much the idea that we got from Jessica Chobot's helping us write the game and stuff, and urban exploration, kind of splunking, that whole kind of scene came up, and it was like just placing someone in that type of environment, just letting them explore it around it, and figure out what's going on here, what type of items have been left out from the past and whatnot, and developing a story through that fashion of just kind of like having people find things and developing what's going on through that means.
Right. So when I went through it, sort of in this old hospital, and I actually found two things. I found three things. I found a note. I found sort of these shaky raver flares, raver lights, and then I found regular street flares and type of things like that. So are those used basically to light your pathway, or are they just alternative means of illumination?
They're alternative means. Some of them have some different kind of like behaviors, which we won't get into specifics, but yeah, it is. It also leads to like cooler effects. So like the flare gives a great flickering, that kind of really hot bright light, and it pulsates. Whereas the glow of the glow stick is just a very like more lower tier, like more ambient kind of a glow and stuff. So it does allow us to kind of switch up the lighting mechanic in the game.
Right. So what kind of other tools can players find in the?
Actually, that's pretty much it. We're pretty thin on what the player can actually do in terms of what they have available to them, because we want to make it as very much exploration. We want them to figure out like how to get around and whatnot. There's no combat in the game. There's no weapons, so. We're letting the people explore how they feel. That's
interesting. So it's not about enemies. It's not about combat. It's just about sort of the atmosphere of being in this building and exploring. Is it there? So there's a story attached to the building that you're sort of unraveling slowly.
Correct. Okay. Yeah, it's pretty much you're a character that's presented with something, and you're figuring out that something is wrong at this place, and through finding these objects through pretty much the world, you're able to identify some level of story.
Okay, so that's interesting because it's more of a narrative in a way. It reminds me more of an adventure game than anything else.
Yeah, it's more along the line of adventure or like a puzzle. As you collect pieces, it will slowly unravel of what's going on, who the players are involved in this and whatnot. So.
I kind of like that. It's interesting. It's a little more, much more sedate than there's other horror games here, and you're always at one point there's there's an enemy coming and you're running away or fighting something off, and I kind of like the idea of this sort of being a more atmospheric, laid back, explore the narrative that's around.
Yeah, well, one of the things is that we figured out making games over time is that players play games differently. And if we give them the power to digest the story in the method that they want to, someone might not care about the story that much, but they want to do the other aspects of the game, including like the scares. There's a lot of scares in the game, so they might just be interested in that, and they not care about the other. Whereas there's other people that want literally to know every detail of the world and what's going on and all the details and whatnot. So we let the flexibility, let the player make those choices themselves.
That's cool. So I actually I play a lot of adventure games, like old school adventure games. So now that I'm talking to you, this feels like an updated version of that kind of thing.
Yeah, I mean,
I don't want to say point and click, but it's like that discovery.
There's certain mechanics. It's very. It has some sandbox behaviors into it for sure. So.
Excellent. And I guess what was the main inspiration? What made you guys want to make a game like this? Do you have urban spelunkers amongst your crowd? Or,
I mean, it's a concept that was brought up in pretty much like the prototyping phase. Historically, I mean, zombies. We have employees that have worked on Fear. We have employees that worked on Condemn. We did 2 Saw games over the last couple of years.
I can see those influences a little bit.
So I mean, we have a pretty good history with pretty much horror games. So we wanted to make something different, and the big key in Daylight is the fact that the entire world is procedurally generated every time you play it.
Oh, is it really?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
So when you play it again, the entire layout of the level will be different the next time.
I did see when we loaded up, it said generating level.
Yep.
And in the back of my head, I thought, well, does that mean that this is actually procedure generated? I thought, I actually thought that might be too awesome. That can't be it. That just means that must be their name for loading. But now that you're telling me that each one is procedurally generated, every time you play, it's different.
Every time you play, it will be a different experience of where things are at.
You just blown my mind, and it's blown. That's fantastic. That's great. That's great. How long? I guess. I mean, since it's procedurally generated, it's different every time. Every time's going to be a different experience. Once you actually get in, how long does it usually take a player to sort of unravel everything and explore?
there's a way to end the game that typically player can probably hit it in about 45 minutes. But because it's procedurally generated and we kind of keep parts away from the player, it allows you to replay over and over and over again and still unravel things that you haven't seen before.
Right.
As well as our plan is to pretty much it's going to be on Steam, so we can update it pretty much anytime we want.
Just add new stuff.
And we will add new parts, new pieces to pretty much what we can do.
So is it available on Steam right now?
No, actually we haven't announced a release date. It will be coming out in 2013, but we haven't announced a specific date yet.
Okay, great. Well, thank you very much for talking to me. Joseph Christ speaking with Colin, Communications Manager for Zombie Studios. And make sure you check out 4playernetwork.com for more PAX East 2013 footage. Thanks a lot, everybody.